Her husband cheated with her best friend while she was in the hospital after a miscarriage. Yeah, you heard that right. Let me take you from the very beginning. Her name was Elena. She and her husband had been married for 7 years. They had tried for a long time to have a child. After several years of disappointment, Elena finally became pregnant. She was overjoyed. Her husband seemed happy too. He went with her to every appointment, helped decorate the nursery, and told her every day how excited he was to become a father. Elena's best friend since university, named Maria, was also very close to them. Maria often came over, helped with the pregnancy, and was like a sister to Elena. Everyone around them said they were the perfect couple with the perfect support system. One afternoon in the second trimester, Elena started bleeding heavily. She was rushed to the hospital. The doctors confirmed it was a miscarriage. Elena was devastated. She lay in the hospital bed, crying quietly, feeling like her whole world had collapsed. Her husband stayed with her for the first few hours, holding her hand and saying all the right things. Then he said he needed to step out to make some calls and get her some things from home. He kissed her forehead and left. A little while later, Maria arrived. She hugged Elena tightly and stayed with her, comforting her and saying she would be there for her. Elena was grateful. She thought she had the most caring husband and the most loyal best friend. Elena felt restless and decided to walk a little to clear her head. She went down the hallway looking for her husband. She heard familiar voices coming from a small family waiting room. The door was slightly ajar. She pushed it open just enough to see inside. There, in the dimly lit room, were her husband and her best friend Maria. They were embracing passionately. Her husband had Maria pressed against the wall. They were kissing deeply, his hands under her shirt. Maria had her fingers in his hair and was whispering his name. Elena stood there in her hospital gown, still bleeding from the miscarriage, watching the two people she trusted most betray her in the hospital while she was losing their child. Elena didn't scream. She didn't cry. She simply stood there until they noticed her. Her husband turned around first. His face went completely white. Maria pushed him away and started crying immediately. Elena, please. It's not what it looks like. We were just emotional. The miscarriage was so hard on all of us. Her husband tried to step toward her. Baby, wait. I can explain. It was a moment of weakness. I was scared and overwhelmed. It meant nothing. But what happened? In the minutes and hours after that moment, that was when the real nightmare began. Because Elena was still in the hospital, recovering from the miscarriage. Her husband and her best friend immediately started trying to convince her that it was just a stupid, emotional mistake and that she should not make any rash decisions while she was grieving. Elena stood in the doorway, still in her hospital gown, the pain from the miscarriage mixing with a pain she had never felt before. Her husband quickly stepped away from her best friend, his face pale with shock. Her best friend, Maria, pulled her clothes back into place, tears already filling her eyes. For a few seconds, the only sounds were the beeping of the monitors from the hallway and Elena's heavy breathing. Her husband spoke first, his voice trembling. Elena, please, this is not what it looks like. We were just emotional. The miscarriage was so hard on all of us. It was a moment of weakness. It meant nothing. Maria started crying immediately. Elena, you're my best friend. I love you. I would never hurt you on purpose. It just happened. We were both scared and overwhelmed. Please don't make this bigger than it is. They were both looking at her with the same desperate, pleading expression, as if she was the one who needed to calm down and be reasonable. Elena felt another wave of pain from the miscarriage. She clutched the doorframe for support. The nurse, who had been on duty, quickly left the room, avoiding eye contact. Elena looked at the two people she trusted most in the world and whispered through the pain, I just lost our baby. And this is what you do. The doctors and nurses tried to act professional, but the atmosphere in the hospital room had completely changed. Elena was back in bed, breathing through the pain, while her husband and Maria stood on either side of her, both trying to comfort her. Her husband held her hand and kept repeating, "I love you. I'm here for you. Please focus on recovering. We can talk about everything later." Maria wiped her tears and said softly, "I'm so sorry. I'll leave if you want. But right now, you need us. Let me be here for you, like I always have been." Elena was in too much pain to argue. She lay there, recovering from the miscarriage, with the two people who had just betrayed her standing beside her bed. In the hours that followed, her husband and Maria tried their best to act like nothing had happened. They took turns bringing her water, adjusting her pillows, and telling the nurses how happy they were to be there for her. When Elena's mother arrived, her husband pulled her aside and quietly said, "Elena is very emotional right now because of the miscarriage. She saw something that wasn't there. Please help her calm down." Maria hugged Elena's mother and whispered, "It's all a big misunderstanding. We're here for Elena. Don't worry." They were already building a wall of denial around what had happened, trying to make Elena feel like she was the one imagining things, or overreacting because of the grief and hormones. But the hardest part came the next morning, when Elena was supposed to be discharged from the hospital, because that's when she received a message from one of the nurses who had been on duty that night. The nurse wrote, "I'm so sorry for what you went through, but you should know, this wasn't the first time. Your husband and your best friend have been seeing each other for months. I thought you deserved to know the truth before you go home with them." But the hardest part was still ahead. Victoria stood in the quiet hallway outside the bridal suite, her white dress suddenly feeling too heavy. The music from the reception downstairs was still playing. Guests were laughing, clapping, waiting for the bride and groom to return for the cake cutting and the first dance. She could hear Daniel and Sophia whispering urgently behind the door. Daniel's voice was low. "We have to go back down. Everyone is waiting. We can't let this ruin the night." Sophia answered quickly, "Just act normal. We'll talk to her later. She's emotional right now." Victoria closed her eyes for a moment. She took a deep breath, wiped the single tear that had escaped, and walked downstairs. When she reappeared in the garden, the guests cheered. Daniel was already there, smiling brightly, acting as if nothing had happened. He walked over to her, took her hand, and kissed her cheek for the cameras. Sophia followed a minute later, her bridesmaid dress perfectly adjusted, smiling like the perfect best friend. The DJ announced the cake cutting. Victoria and Daniel stood in front of the three-tiered cake, knives in hand, smiling for the photos. Daniel whispered in her ear while they posed, "Please, just get through tonight. We'll talk about everything when we get to the hotel. Don't ruin this for everyone." Sophia stood right beside them, holding the bouquet, smiling for the guests as if she hadn't just been in the bridal suite with the groom. Victoria smiled through it all. She cut the cake. She fed Daniel a piece. She danced the first dance with him while the guests clapped and took videos. No one noticed that her smile never reached her eyes. The rest of the reception felt like a dream she couldn't wake up from. Guests kept coming up to congratulate them. Her mother hugged her and said how beautiful she looked. Her father raised a toast to the perfect couple. Every time Victoria looked at Daniel, she saw him laughing with guests, playing the role of the happy husband. Every time she looked at Sophia, she saw her best friend smiling and dancing, acting as if nothing had changed. At one point, during a slow song, Daniel pulled her close and whispered, "I love you. This is our night. Don't let one stupid mistake ruin it." Victoria didn't answer. She just kept smiling for the cameras. Later that night, after the last guest had left and they were finally alone in the bridal suite, Daniel closed the door, turned to her, and spoke with the calm confidence of someone who believed the matter was already settled. "Look, I know you're upset, but we're married now. We have the rest of our lives to work through this. Sophia is your best friend. She's family. We can all move past this. No one else ever needs to know what happened tonight." He said it so calmly, so confidently, as if the decision had already been made for her. Victoria stood in the middle of the bridal suite in her wedding dress, the veil still pinned in her hair. She looked at the man she had just married a few hours earlier and felt something inside her finally break, not with anger, but with clarity. She took off her veil, folded it carefully, and placed it on the table. Then, she looked him straight in the eyes and said quietly but firmly, "I want an annulment. I'm leaving tonight, and I will never forgive either of you for what you did on the day that was supposed to be the happiest of my life." She packed a small bag with only the essentials, called a taxi, and left the bridal suite that same night. Daniel followed her to the car, still in his wedding suit, begging her not to leave. Sophia stood on the balcony watching silently, her face pale. The next morning, the news spread like wildfire. Victoria sent a short message to both families and close friends. "The marriage has been annulled. There are reasons I cannot discuss right now. I ask for privacy and respect during this time." Her mother and Daniel's family were shocked. Some tried to convince her to reconsider for the sake of the marriage. Others blamed her for ruining the perfect wedding. But Victoria did not explain. She did not defend herself. She simply moved forward. In the following months, she went through the annulment process quietly. She moved to a new city. She changed her number. She started therapy and slowly rebuilt her life, piece by piece. Daniel and Sophia tried to reach her many times. They sent letters, flowers, messages, through mutual friends. They told everyone that Victoria had panicked on her wedding night and that they were devastated but willing to forgive her. Victoria never replied. She kept only one photo from the wedding, the one of her walking down the aisle alone, before she said, "I do." She looked at it sometimes as a reminder of the woman she was before she learned the truth. So, that's the full story. Every single painful, shocking, heartbreaking detail. A woman wrote to me and asked me to tell her story. On the night of her wedding, she caught her new husband with her maid of honor. They tried to convince her to stay silent, to pretend everything was fine, to continue the marriage for the sake of appearances. But she chose herself. She left that same night. She annulled the marriage. She walked away from the fairy tale and started building her own life. You can send your story to my email anytime, and I promise I'll tell it in the next episodes. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and let the truth spread everywhere.